Hi, with Mocienne Petit Jackson. Today it's raining. I really wanted to go outside and walk. I even have my running clothes already finished to get in to my clothes and start walking. But the weather have really go down, and I have discipline, but I decided not to go because I don't want to become sick, and I'm very emotional because I'm following the case of Martin Bashir about BBC apologizing to the Queen House, Queen Elizabeth family about the Princess Diana interview in the 19th. And I remember this interview very well. And, Martin Bashir have really dishonored, disrespect my father, Michael Jackson, and it have really destroyed his life. And so I'm just wondering what the BBC is going to do with what Martin Bashir. What I understand is he's very sick. I believe he had cancer or something like that, but then he became better. I think his health is okay now. So I don't understand why this is now going on in the UK. I don't really get it. Why they are apologizing? They should have done it much earlier before. But anyway, I made another video about Martin Bashir, the way he manipulates people, and the world found out that he also manipulates Princess Diana. I mean, it's very painful. It's very painful. This whole situation. What's going on? It's very painful. And I have to tell you, I cannot sleep because of that, because it really reminds me of a very sad time of my father's life. He was so sad after the Martin Bashir interview. He was so sad. He was such a broken man. He was so broken. He was so hurt, and I really feel for my father's pain that he went through. And I know that he rests in peace, but sometimes there are just moments I just want him to be there. I just want him to say, okay, Dad, come. You take your lawyers and you go to BBC and a crazy Martin Bashir of what he have done to you, but he's not there anymore. So I never fight with the estate of Michael Jackson about anything because they are not important to me. But in this case, I'm hoping that the estate of Michael Jackson, my father, or family members will go to court with the BBC and get justice for my father's name, even he's no longer around. Just the satisfaction. I would like to have the satisfaction to see this man punished for the way he manipulates living with Michael Jackson in documentary, because I love this documentary because my father really was showing the world of what he was. And this interview is very important to me because I learned a new Michael Jackson that I didn't know before. I only know the Michael Jackson in the 70s when I was born, and then Michael Jackson in the 80s. And I know the Michael Jackson in 2000 before he died. Okay. I know my father. I have known my father for 18 years in different time zone, but I didn't know my father as Michael Jackson, as the king of pop, as the artist. And with Oprah Winfrey show, I believe was 1995 or 1994. I don't exactly remember that interview. It was devastating because I thought in that interview that with Oprah Winfrey interview, he was going to say my name and he was going to explain things, and but I didn't see all that. I didn't see all that. And when the Martin Bashir interview was, Michael Jackson, my dad, was already back in my life. So he knew what I was doing. I knew what he was doing. And I didn't quite understand why he was doing the interview. But what he did do is confirming to me that he was really my dad. So hearing my dad talking in the video with Living with Michael Jackson, my dad showed my father went deep. He really went deep, and again, I'm gonna have a tear in my eyes. In that same time he was making the interview, he asked me to go to Netherlands, Neverland, in California. Saudi people, his bodyguards, everyone was really begging me, please go to California, go to Netherlands, ring the bell, just go, just go. I have been in Netherlands before, but then the name wasn't Netherlands. It was in the timeline that my father recorded the video Say with Paul McCartney, that I stayed there and I don't remember me meeting Paul McCartney and Linda, his wife. I don't remember that, but I do remember sleeping at Netherlands, and I do remember that I didn't like that place. I didn't like the energy. Children are very sensitive for energy and things, and it made me feel very unhappy. I have also write about that in my book Thriller Betrayal, as a memorial to my father. So in 2003, when this Martin Bashir was doing this interview, my father and his people were really begging me to go to Netherlands. And sometimes I ask, get emotional, what would have happened if I listened and if I did what my father told me to. I think he would have captured me. All the things that my father was doing on the moment that he had me back in his life, physically back in his life, that was in 2001. He was pushing me to come back to America, pushing me to get the DNA testing, to pushing me to come forward. I was his daughter. He was really pushing me, and he was driving me crazy. He was driving me nuts. My father, Michael Jackson, he was driving me so upset that I needed a therapist to deal with it. And lucky for me, I had an amazing therapist who said, there's nothing strange you saying you are Michael Jackson's daughter. Why not? And my psychiatrist was amazing. And I remember sitting there and just crying so hard and telling him that I felt so ashamed. But I need to tell him something. He said, just tell me. And I cried and I cried. And I said to my psychiatrist, Michael Jackson is my father. And he just came back into my life. And he wants this and he wants that. But I cannot give it to him because I'm angry I'm mad, I'm disappointed, and I just cried. And then my psychologist asked me, how does it make you feel? I said to him, I feel so ashamed. I feel so ashamed because a lot of people may not believe me. A lot of people may think I'm crazy, um, and all the kind of thing. People will judge me that I'm mad, delusional, and all this kind of things. And then I said to my psychiatrist, but I feel like I'm getting mad, um, because nobody knows. And then my psychiatrist said that it was a normal reaction that I had. He said, "My God, I'm so happy you have a normal reaction. It would be strange if you did not have this kind of reaction after your father was taken away from you. You were kidnapped, and all these horrible things that happened to you." And he was a therapist that dealt with a lot of famous people, and he really made me feel comfortable. He said, there are many artists who have secret children who are suffering just like you do. They come to me and we talk about it. And then he said, what do you think of my father's face? And then I said to him, I start to cry harder. I said to him, he's no longer black as the last time that I remember him. And then my therapist said, yeah, of course, he looked a bit strange, but he said it's all about the love. And it was the first time in my life I could really express the hate that I had for my father. And my therapist said, do you want to go to California? Do you want to go to Los Angeles? And I said to my therapist, no, I don't want. But I said, he's forcing me. I said to him, I cannot call the cop and say, hey, Michael Jackson is stalking me. He's calling me mid in the night. He's called me to say he loved me. He called me. So I said to my therapist, there's no one that I could call and ask for help. So, and I told my therapist, my shrimp, it was very hard. And then he said that I did the right thing for taking a step. And I said to him, why don't you? And I said to my shrink, why don't you say that I'm crazy? Why don't you say that I'm crazy in telling you that Michael Jackson is my father? And then my therapist said, I'm not surprised Michael Jackson is your father. I've been hearing that he's been around here, around the Netherlands and around Europe. Everyone is asking why he's so much here in Europe and the Netherlands. So everyone is asking what is going on here with Michael Jackson. So my therapist said, okay, but now I know why Michael Jackson is so much in Europe and very near you, because he has an issue to take care of. And I said, yes. So Michael Jackson coming back into my life, it was so devastating that I needed a shrimp to talk about it. I needed a psychiatrist to talk about it. And I cried. I cried because I felt ashamed. I felt so ashamed. I don't want to cry. I felt ashamed because I understood that many people cannot believe me, that Michael Jackson is my father. And I felt ashamed that I couldn't control my anger, that I hate him, that I hated him so much. I felt ashamed that he was doing all this to me. I felt ashamed that I didn't know how to deal with the situation. I felt ashamed about that. I felt ashamed that I couldn't control my emotions. I felt ashamed that I couldn't keep my secret any longer. Um, and my therapist, my shrink, my psychiatrist, he was absolutely phenomenal. And he was very sincere. And so I said to him, do I need a sticker? That you're going to tell me that I'm crazy? He said, crazy? He said, what crazy? And then he started to tell me about people that he give therapists to who are really crazy. So he say, you being Michael Jackson's daughter, there's nothing crazy about it. So he said, you can think the same way about me being the father of my children, that my children are crazy, but I'm their father. And he just explained that people are just people. And he said that he could understand that Mike Jackson has a secret child because of the life he had lived, that it was no surprise. He was also older. And yeah. So, and he asked me why it hurt me saying that Michael Jackson's my dad. What was the pain? And I told him that the pain was that I wanted to have a normal father. I didn't want to have a famous superstar as my father, and especially one that didn't protect me enough so that I could be kidnapped and hiding away in Haiti, being dumped, and then coming back to my life, demanding I'm going back to California like nothing happened, demanding I come home. The first plan that my father, Michael Jackson, had, that was told by his people, the plan was introducing me into the media. They tried, Sound Music tried, but they failed. They told me they failed. By mistake, they failed. So what they wanted is they wanted to introduce me to the world with photos of me being next to my father. So so we will go out together. We'll have dinners. We'll have conversation. So in 2001, Sound Music tried to make photos of me and Michael Jackson standing. So they made an appointment that I had to go to Sound Music. I had to go to the palace, something like that. And Michael Jackson was coming out, photographing, was standing in a corner, and they were gonna make photos of me and my father together. And they were going to publish this videos, and me and my father, we will look at each other. That was Sound Music plan, not my plan. And then they will put shots, and then they will keep putting photos out with Michael Jackson and me. But the thing is that every time they made a plan to make photos that shows me and my father together, I run away. Something made me angry or whatever. It didn't. So the problem was for Sound Music and Michael Jackson's team was to get me on the photo with my father because something happened all the time. But if my father, Michael Jackson, was alive, and we will be dealing with each other. So if the child molester case didn't come, so if the interview with Martin Bashir went well, and there was no child protection, no child molester case in that period, the planning was that me and my father, we were going to have normal contact. We were going to be photographed together and the media was going to write that I, me, that I was Michael Jackson, quote, maybe new new love, girlfriend that loved him, and best friend. So they were planning to introduce us to the media as friends for a very long time, friends. And Michael Jackson was going to be photographed with my son Joshua. They look very like my son and my father. They look exactly like. So they would create the idea that why why my son looks so much like Michael Jackson, and then slowly they will introduce that I'm a family member, quote, somewhere, somehow. And then um, they will announce that Michael Jackson is my father. That was the plan. And the planning was then in the middle of something like that, I had to do a DNA testing with Michael Jackson. And I had to do an interview with People magazine. So, and then Michael Jackson would say, hey, she's my friend. Why is she asking for DNA testing? She's a family member or whatever. They didn't know it very out, but this is what Michael Jackson's security told me how it was going to be, something like that. So when the child molester came, my father's personal bodyguards, they were protecting me. They were very nearby me, you know, and it was very stressful time. Very stressed. It was a horrible time. And it was also the time in 2003 that I decided that my son needed to go to his father to be safe. So many things were going on. So I even called my father's bodyguards and I said, listen, I think it's really better that I'm going to send my son Joshua to his father. And maybe I even have to stay with his father for a couple of weeks to let my son to let my son get used to it, and then I go back to where I was, because things were really frightened. And then I discussed it with my psychiatrist, and he said, "Good idea." And then I bring my son to his father to protect my son, and then the whole child molester child child protection case began to my ex was playing all out. So I already I was the 100% caregiver of my son for 4 years. So he had me every day, every night. It was mommy, mommy, mommy. And his father did the weekend. Now I really had to give my son to the weekend, uh, to his father for a while, because my ex did not listen to my problems. I said, really, um, I really need you to take care of Joshua because of the child molester case of my father, and I'm scared for his well-being. I need to go just somewhere else. So he wasn't there for me. He didn't want to have me in his house for 2 weeks. So I could make Joshua get used to it and then go back to my friend where I was staying. I didn't do anything wrong to give my son to his father. I also discussed it with my father's team of bodyguards. I'm sorry, I have tears in my eyes. So I decided with my psychiatrist and with my father's bodyguards, it was the best to go and protect my son because of the Martin Bashir case. Things were going to be very different. Um, things were really going to be different, and I wanted to protect my child. I was really having people calling me on the phone, threatening me almost really every day 24 hours, that they know who I was. That they know I am Michael Jackson's secret child, and that Joshua, my son, is his grandchild. They were going to kidnap me, and it's going to be worse after what they did to me. I really received this kind of telephones every day. And I spoke to my therapist about it, my psychiatrist, and he said, yes, this is what happened to people who have secret. And you are an amazing, huge secret. So I said to my psychiatrist, I want to keep my baby, my son, safe. I want my son to be with his father for a while, so he's safe. I want my child to be safe. And then my psychiatrist said, good idea. Spoke to my father's bodyguard, can you please? You know, my father already on that moment, he already sent his own trusted bodyguards to watch over me in 2003. And it was so painful. And it's even for me now, it's hard to talk about it. That's how painful it is. So together with people that knew my situation, I gave my son to his father. And then the story started to play that I wrote a book about, Thriller, The Dark Side of Netherlands. And the child protection that have failed me when I was kidnapped were now going to fail my son. And the life of my father, Michael Jackson, became very insecure. And that was one thing that Sound in Music did, everyone did, was to make sure that I'm safe and to make sure that my son was safe. You know, one of the greatest stories in my life, in my world, is that when I give my son to his father for a while, my father, Michael Jackson, hired a couple of black bodyguards, and they were watching my ex 24 hours a day. And that really made him crazy. My ex really made me crazy. I have to move because of my leg hurt. I'm sitting by a balcony. I have that. My feet is that. Ow. Ow. Same movement. I'm sorry. I have to move my feet a little bit. Sorry. Ow. But yeah, can I move? Oh gosh. Ow. Yes. Sorry. Yes. I have to move my feet. I feel like my feet is dying. No blood pressure. Let me. Yes. Yeah. I'm doing exercise once I'm. So when I give my son to his father, my father, Michael Jackson, he hired 24 hours security around my ex. So the conversation that my ex had, that black people are following me around, and blah, blah. And he was really screaming. And then I said to the father of my son, you know that I told you that I'm a secret daughter of Mike Jackson. This is what you have. This is his grandson. He wants to protect his grandson. My body hurts. Ow. Sorry. Yes. I didn't move my feet for a while, and maybe because of stress, but it's just hurting. Yeah. Sorry. So my ex, he was losing it. He was really. Let me move around. Oh, sorry. Oh yes. Yes, 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 yes. I feel good. Feel blood again in my feet. So my ex, he had the bodyguards protecting him, not him, protecting my son 24 hours. And he called me and he just screamed, "Yeah, I want you to stop all these black strong bodyguards. Tell me what to do with my son, blah, blah, blah." And just remember crying. Just crying. I just kept myself cool, and I just kept myself cool. And I was thinking, okay. But I felt so happy knowing that my father, Michael Jackson, understood the story and that he was protecting his grandson, my Joshua. And as a mom, he wasn't gonna let it happen again. That his grandchild was going to be kidnapped, like I was kidnapped. And this is something so special that my father have gifted me, that I'm thinking, okay, my son and I survive it because my father, Michael Jackson, learned from the first time that I was kidnapped, it wasn't going to happen. And it also helped me to breathe, knowing that my son was going to be protected. No one was going to touch my son. He was going to be safe. And my ex, he was really, really brutal. It was really, really brutal. And then the court decided that Joshua, my son, had to come back to me. And my father's bodyguards were still around me. So everyone was thinking, wow, good, great. Joshua's coming back. And even the court said to the child protection that Joshua needed to come back to me. They didn't do what the court told them to do. And this is what the lawsuit is about between me and the government, that even a high court decided that the child need to come back to the mother. They didn't do it. They ignored the verdict. They ignore it. And they lie, they cheat, and they didn't follow what the court said needed to be done. So they find another excuse. And before I knew it, I lost my son for 14 years. I lost my son for 14 years. So my son is not a stranger to me. He's not. But I don't have the mother-son relationship that I was dreaming of. I'm still dreaming of. I'm hoping. I wanted to travel with my son. I wanted to see him painting. He's a great artist. He's a born artist. My son. He has so many talents. It's just crazy. He's just like my father, Michael Jackson, in every way. And my father, Michael, before he died, he spent 8 months in Amsterdam looking at this boy that he started talking with. Joshua was very young. How old was he? He was 9 years old, 8, 9. And my father, he was alone in Amsterdam. Nobody recognized him. He was incognito in Amsterdam. And every morning he walked my son to school. My son, not realizing it was his grandfather, Michael Jackson. We found out this later when my father, Michael Jackson, died. We found out later. But the gift is for me that he spent another 8 months before he died with his mini-me. And Joshua is my proof that Michael Jackson is my father, because they aren't copy. They are exactly the... Joshua has in his head that's what his father brainwashed him, that he looked like his father. doesn't look like his father. He looked like Michael Jackson. And everyone can see it, only not Joshua. Joshua cannot see it, but everyone can see that he looked like Michael Jackson. Joshua, that's it. Anyway, my father could see it. So for me, the present is that my father spent another 8 months in Amsterdam with my son, without my son knowing it was Michael Jackson. And my son was teaching him Dutch, how to speak Dutch. So, and he was a very poor guy in Amsterdam. And my money went to my father because my son said, "Mom, I need some money from a homeless guy. He doesn't have any money. So, Mom, you need to give me some money. I have to give it to him." I said, "What? Okay, fine. Daddy don't give any money. Daddy don't..." Beautiful. So beautiful. But without this Martin Bashir guy, my life could have been very different. And I hope that my father would have been still alive today. But I understand very well that life is in God's hands, and he decides what's going to happen, yes or no. Some people do not believe in God. Okay, we don't have to use the word God, but there is an energy in this world that we do not control. And you can call it whatever you want. Allah, Buddha, Hindu, Stevie Wonder. You can call it whatever you want, but this energy, I don't control it, this energy. And I don't know if he was alive today, but I know that my life would have been very different with my father. And yeah, but this is so extraordinary for me. So when I hear Martin Bashir interview, I realize he have totally destroyed my life, destroyed my father's life, destroyed my son's life with these stupid interviews of him, because he could have, he could have said, "You know what, Michael, we're not going to put this in because it doesn't look good," or, but his plan was to destroy my father, and he had no good meaning. And it was exactly with the interview with Princess Diana that he have blackmail her in a way to get the interview, just like in a way he have also blackmail my father in a way with lying about a card that my father believed that he was safe, that he wasn't safe. But anyway, this is something that I'm thinking Martin Bashir, this is something that I hope the state of Michael Jackson will deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to even send him a postcard saying, "Hey, you Martin Bashir, you are an ass. ... All." I'm not even going to do that. I will not go into that. So my life could have been so differently, and the life of my son. But again, I'm saying there is something that's called God or angel that make life goes as it goes. And living with Michael Jackson, I have a lot of joy looking at this video because I really see my dad, and he was in my life, this was an interview that I knew that he wasn't going to say my name. If this interview went well, I know he would have go to another interview, as I said. His team will make photos from me and my dad, and then slowly it will come out. and then I will have to ask for DNA testing, and then I will do an interview with People magazine, because he sent People magazine to me. Michael Jackson have told someone at People magazine that I am his daughter, and that person said, send my lawyer a letter for, okay, let's do an interview. And I was thinking, that's not going to happen. I want to be in control of my life, and that was the thing that really gave me a breakdown, that I needed a psychiatrist to talk about it. So when the child molester came in the case of my father, a lot of things have happened between me and my father, that I knew that I was going to be safe. No one was going to touch me. And when when my ex put the child protection on me, and the child protector say I must be crazy, saying that Michael Jackson is my father, they went too far, because this is a real story, and they have never listened to me all my life. When I was kidnapped, and I was raped, and all the things that happened to me, they never listened, and now suddenly they make judgment of what is real, what's not real. You know, they went too far. This is also the reason that I suing the Dutch government about my kidnapping and all the things. I think when I was 9 years old and I kidnapped, and you knew that my identity wasn't correct, you just wanted me to shut up. You didn't ask me anything. I was raped for 6 years. You knew about it, but you didn't move and try to save me. And then my father is back in my life, and I'm protecting my child. Then you are telling me I'm crazy. My lawyer, that was between me and my father, Michael Jackson, and his people. I didn't allow her to do the case surrounding my child, because she disappointed me. She really disappointed me in a hard way. And sometimes I think that I make the right decision, that I didn't continuing allowing her to be my lawyer, and I went to another lawyer. And I'm thinking, I don't know. Sometimes you just make mistakes in life that you just have to accept. And I think, personally, if I think long, no, it would not have make any decision, because the child protection were never good to me when I was a child, so it didn't matter. And this is the point why I'm suing the Dutch government, and this is why I wrote my book, Thriller the Dark Side of the Netherlands, to expose. I want the child protection in the Netherlands to be exposed, how bad they are, and that there is no difference between a child protection in America or child protection in the Netherlands, because Netherlands are trying to be a small America. In the Netherlands, they have a complex that they want to do things the American way, while they cannot do the things the American way. And American child protection, they are scandalous, they are hell, they destroy families, and there is no humanity in that organization. No one. 99% are bad, and the 1% people that you do find, they are absolutely God-made angels to save the children, save the family, but they are just 1%. And here in the Netherlands, I don't even dare to say there's even 1% of good people working for the child protection. This government, blah, 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 blah. I just don't even say it. Anyway, I want to end this video saying that I'm hoping that Martin Bashir, that he will get his punishment, and BBC will get his punishment for what they have done to me and to my life. And I am not Michael Jackson, but when the world ever find out that I'm really Michael Jackson's daughter, I'm going to write BBC a personal letter. So they can wait for it, but that's what I want. And Martin Bashir, no, there's no need for me to ever say his name again, talk to this guy. And I'm hoping that the state of Mike Jackson, that they will find a way to sue this guy, because he have destroyed my father's life with this interview. And it's phenomenal how life God works, that the truth surrounding what he did to Princess Diana is coming out. And I would like to talk one day about Princess Diana, because my father was crazy about her. Crazy about her. I remember being in Haiti very young, and he showed me a photo of Princess Diana. I didn't understand. I was too small to understand it. But I knew as a very small child he was crazy about her. Crazy about it. After, when I was kidnapped, I understood what a princess was about. So, and Lisa Mary Presley, he was crazy, Princess Diana, and Lisa Mary Presley, but he would have wanted to marry Princess Diana. Oh God, so sweet, so sweet. You made me look for. You made me look so many times at the photos of Princess Diana when I was in Haiti, and I just didn't remember. To be honest, she was the only princess that I know, that I was raised with. Princess Diana. I don't know any princess. Yeah, Princess Diana. And why do I remember? Because she had the same name as my aunt, Diana Ross. That's why I remember. And she was blonde. And I also remember, as a child, I was thinking, Diana. Also, an occasion people name can be Diana. So I knew a black Diana was my aunt. And I knew occasion Diana was Princess Diana. That's why I know. And when I end conversation, I love the song Dirty Diana. I'm bad. I was thinking what was going in his mind. Dirty Diana, oh, dirty. Beautiful song. I was thinking, what? I'm bored. I never understand. If I would have asked my father, Dad, can you tell me about this song, Diana? I will, if he was alive today, I would have betrayed him. I would have asked him, Dad, can you explain to me how did you make the song Princess Diana? And then I will betray him by exploding it on my YouTube channel. I will say to Michael Jackson, listen, Michael Jackson fans, you know my dad, Mike Jackson. I have finally know how he have write that song, Dirty Diana. I'm going to share with you. And then I just wanted my father to call me and said, Mocienne, how dare you? Betrayal, man. I said, Dad, I just need to know why you write the song. But these are things I'm never going to find out, because my father was murdered. And it's been 30 years now. But sometimes I just let my fantasy just, okay, I would. But these are things that I'm serious about. Serious for a very long time, you know. Sounding Music asked me once time in my life, make a list, what would you want to do with my dad? What I wanted to do with my dad. I'm not going to share that list, but I'm not going to share it. But this was one thing on my list I wanted to know. I want to say thank you for watching my channel. And I'm looking for this lawsuit with the Dutch government for what they have done to me and to my son. And if you have mental problem, don't be ashamed to go to a psychiatrist, because I have also used one. He saved my life, because I was so embarrassed to find out Michael Jackson was my father, the king of pop, a part of my father. I didn't know. And my psychiatrist, he was phenomenal in supporting me. So if you have mental illness, don't be ashamed to ask for help, because it can really help you. It can really help you. So take care, and thank you very much for my YouTube followers. And it's still raining in the Netherlands, and I'm hoping next time I can do my walk. And I want to say to you, thank you so much for following my channel, and I hope my experience can educate you something. And I believe in praise. Allah, Buddha, Hindu, Christian, you tell me. I believe in positive energy, and we all go through life and suffering, but I believe in positive energy. So this was Mocienne Petit Jackson. Thank you for watching my channel, and stay safe.